Good morning, I'm Herm Gailey. I'm here on a young horse we call Slim, and I'm just warming him up. We're going to use him for a segment on our video series later, working with a young horse with a tarp off his back to kind of get things up above the other horse's head and back level. But I need to warm him up so he's ready to be the pony horse and isn't just going at it cold. And thought that it might be a good time to talk about a concept that has helped me a lot and that a lot of people don't really employ. And that is the concept of pulling to a point. You'll see a lot of people doing this. That has its place. You'll see people doing a lot of half halts. That has its place. But a lot of times, what you can do, if you want to steer your horse, for example, is take your hands where you want them and see how he's running through my hand right now. He's going to the right and I've got my hand in a position to go left. So I'm going to move my leg into him and have him catch up with my hand. I'll move my hand over to a left position, put my leg, and he'll catch up to my hand. What people tend to do, and I tended to do, is go to your point and then go past your point and past your point, and even if you're kicking, you're putting continued pressure on. Set yourself a point, pull to it, and send your horse after it with your legs. That way, you're not coming to your horse as you would with your hands. If you're going to your horse with your hands, you're kind of playing his game. Whereas if you pull to a point and use your leg, he's playing your game. And when they come to you, you soften. And they learn to crave that, and it gives you a way of just taking your hands where you want and your horse will stay underneath your hand. I also, in this process here today, just warming him up, will probably ride him two-handed, but the pull to a point positioning really lends itself well to the transition to riding your horse one-handed. So it's a good way of riding one-handed with two hands. So you can take this to whatever level you want. I mean, we can start to trot him around because I do need to warm him up. And he's a bit fresh, he's got his head up, and he's made to carry his head up a little bit. So maybe I'll steer him a little bit to the left, I'll go over to a point, send him after it, and then release him. Go to a point, bump him, he's looking to his right, until he softens and goes off straight. After you get to that point and release, he's soft and he's straight. Pull to that point till he comes soft and he's straight. I will say this boy has some staying power. We trail rode him about 3 hours and hauled him a couple hours yesterday, and he's ready to come back to the party. I don't hate him for that. So I'll take my hand over to the right this time, left leg, bring him after that hand. Left leg to bring him after that hand. But I'm picking a point, I'm going there, and I'm not pulling on him. I'm just setting a limit and saying, go over to that limit. And you can take that to a little higher level. If you take it over there, say, come to me, come to me, come to me. And you get a horse that's more maneuverable. That's a real useful button to have on your horse. And the whole pull to a point idea works in a variety of contexts. You can take your horse and pull to a point and just go for some collection. Go for a headset. You drive him in to that headset with your hands. Now here, I'm not setting my hands off to the side. I'm centering him, driving him into my hands. And when he comes to that point, I don't keep taking more and more, because your horse will get frustrated. Instead, I pick the point, pull to that point, and arrest my hands at the point and bring his body to it. There you go. And I'll throw it back and give it back to him. And if he wants to stretch down and relax, that's fine. You can use this in a lot of different contexts. You can use it if you're asking your horse to leg yield. Put your hands in the position you want for a leg yield. Add your leg. Send him to that point. Send him to that point. Pick up, hands in that position. Send him to that point. Send him to that point. You can use it as I did a couple of minutes ago. Set your hands in a position to turn your horse, say in a 360. Set the hand, leg to it. Ride him to that point. But what you don't do, and I'll do this to him and then I'll have to send him flowers or something. You don't say, come on around. He's gonna resent that. Now that was a cartoon example of that, but a lot of people do that. They don't pick that point and stay there. They go past the point, and when the horse gives, they take more. When the horse gives, they take more. And guess what happens next? The horse quits giving. You can't blame him. Same thing, you can do this at any gait. I like to steer my horse around a lot at a lope. So we'll sort of pick up a left lead on him and lope him around a little. And he's a bit fresh. I'm going to steer him to the left, pull to a point, release, he straightens out. Pull to a point, pull to a point, release, he straightens out. Pull to a point, release, he straightens out. Pull to a point, release when he straightens out. And if I want to ride down here straight, I straighten my hands and ride him to straight. But what I'm not doing is dragging on my horses endlessly with my hands. I'm setting that point, steering him over. Now, how did I learn to do this? My friend Rocky there scolded me and convinced me and harangued me into not pulling on my horse as much. And it only took him a couple of decades to get through to me. But maybe I can send or save you folks a good part of a lifetime of doing things effectively but a little bit wrong if you just think about always getting your horse in a position. See, I'm bumping him. Get your horse in a position where you can give back to him. Where you can give back to him. Now, this horse has absolutely no aptitude for the stop, which is one reason why he's my trail horse and not a random prospect. But I'll show you what I would do to stop one. I'll pull to a point, but I'm not going to have a lot of pressure. I'm just going to have it to where they know they're being restrained. I take my leg off, and hopefully they drop down and stop a little bit. So as I said, not much aptitude there, but Also, he's not rebellious about it. He's going to get a functional halt on him, and that's about what he's going to need. He can do other things in his life besides be a reiner, and he's already shown me that he's a useful horse in other ways. You can do the same thing in the backup. You pick your point, use your legs, and if you need more, you use a little more leg. But what I'm not doing is dragging my horse backward with my hands. That was better. Got a little crooked to the left, but I'll take that. But what I'm not doing is trying to overpower him with my hands or to take when he's already giving. Now, I steered him back to the right to sort of overcorrect a bit because he's going to the left. And that's not what this video is about, but it's what he was doing. So you correct what you have to correct. And when you're done with this stuff, that's a good place for him to be. He's a high-headed horse by nature. And if I can encourage him to stretch down, relax that resistor muscle under his neck, and get longer, I'll do that at every opportunity. Plus, I don't want him to get addicted to having me using my hands on him to do things. I want him to be comfortable with having no guidance too, so that he doesn't take off because he thinks he needs to be restrained. He just walks around and relaxes, gets his nose down and snow plows a little bit. This is his time. So that's the rudiments of pull to a point. You'll see that if you look back at videos, you'll see that, and I don't think I ever clearly explained that as part of the process, but it really is helpful, has been to me. Hopefully it will be to you as well. Thank you.